Get there. So welcome back everyone to another episode of my second season of Kabir Speaks, where I review and analyze films. So as you must have already guessed what film I'm going to be reviewing, that is Pushpa, starring Allu Arjun and Rashmika Mandanna and Fahad Fazil. So let's begin with the story. The story is very formulaic. When we used to watch those old films back in the day in the 70s, 80s, and even in the 90s to an extent, where there's a meteoric rise of a poor man who's very courageous and brave and tenacious. He rises through up the ranks in a business that is borderline illegal or pretty much illegal, but he does the wrong things the right way. Sort of like that Robin Hood style character. He has to fight off his enemies, he has a love interest, he becomes the person from the common man who rises and dethrones the evil rich guy. That is pretty much what Pushpa is. I can name you plenty of films. Scarface, Reis, KGF. So the story-wise is very formulaic. It's nothing new. It's nothing different. However, the brilliance in the film, the reason why the success of this film is not because of the story, but because of the execution of the story. So now let's begin with the screenplay. So Pushpa is the main guy, played by Mr. Allu Arjun, who's working in the woods. They sell this specific kind of red sandalwood. They chop the trees off and then they sell that to the market. Pushpa starts off with the one who starts chopping off the trees. They have to do it by hiding off from the police because it's sort of like an illegal business. Pushpa rises up the ranks when he makes sure that the police doesn't get a hand on the supply of the woods that they chopped off. He already wins the workers' hearts as well by showing them courage to how to stand up to police. They might have one gun, but we have about 60 people with an axe. That's our power. He's get to know to the audience that he is someone out of many people who work over there. And there's many other incidents they've shown where he stands up for the right thing, or that's the character that is shown within this story arc and also in subplots. He also has a separate love angle when he falls in love with this girl that is played by Rashmika Mandanna. Brilliance in the screenplay is, even though we know what's going to happen, we still want to watch how he does it, because the way the action scenes are designed and the way dialogues are written, just the moments where you want to sit down and just clap and you enjoy that rise, even though you know what's going to happen next. They make sure that you want to see every little move that Pushpa's going to do. Rashmika's character is pretty much like a subplot. If that wasn't added to the film, it wouldn't make that much of a difference. And then you also have that sideline with the police officer, the brave and honest police officer. Although I do wish that person had a bigger storyline within the film, but his subplot is pretty much cut off right before the first half of the film. Towards the end of the film, in about last 30 or 40 minutes or so, the character of Fahad Fazil is introduced as another police officer. Automatically, people know that he is the one who's going to give an equal challenge to Pushpa when Pushpa has risen up the ranks and he now is in charge of the whole business. So this is the further story that's going on. That's the beauty of the screenplay of Pushpa, that people want to connect to that. People want to be the character like Pushpa, to never back down. That's the reason I think Pushpa's character really struck the audience. I had already predicted from the trailer that Pushpa is gonna be a big hit all over India. And one of the reasons I said it was because, number one, Allu Arjun has an immense popularity in the whole parts of India. The way they've captured the popularity is all his films, his good films, have been dubbed into Hindi and shown on television. Number two, the dialogues. The dialogues of the film. I already felt people are going to be making TikTok videos, and I already predicted that cricketers like David Warner would be making those videos right from the get-go. It's not the story that's the king. It's how you tell a story. That's the beauty of Pushpa. Now, I want to go out to the direction. See, the director is the one person that can make a 3-hour film fun. The direction is so focused that he already knows that he's going to make a sequel. The thing about certain directors is when they plan a 2-part film or a 3-part film, they tend to lose focus that they started initially. Rajamouli sir has done that brilliantly with Bahubali, which is why the second part was equally brilliant. They didn't make a film that I'm going to make this first part and then think, oh, I'll leave the ending this way, that if it works, I'm going to make a sequel. They already planned it out. Whether it wouldn't have worked, then they might have thought that, okay, it's not profitable to make a second one. But they already thought the film in 2 parts, which means they thought the whole storyline, the story arc, the characters, that when they will be introduced, what will be introduced that way, which is why the first part looked so smooth and the second part was laid out to towards the end very beautifully. So that's the director's focus. He didn't tend to lose the focus while making the film. Many times you get so many suggestions from the assistant. He might have changed a little bit minor here and there. For example, the song that was by Cinematography, he put that last minute. But the whole story wise, the screenplay wise, the direction wise, he has a very sharp focus. He didn't deviate much from his vision. That's the brilliance of the direction as well. So now we go into the editing bit. It does not feel like a 3-hour film. In terms of editing, there's so many people make mistakes. The action scenes become so jarring. Slow-mo scenes become too long. And while they're editing, they might not realize how much it might look like in the final cut. But that's not what happened in this film. Thankfully, they avoided that mistake. Punches in the midair, and suddenly you have a next shot cut, and then you see from the other hand comes in, and then the other punch comes in. It's the end. They could have introduced the character of the policeman Fahad Fazil way early. They could have introduced him, and then they could have run Pushpa's story parallelly and then connected them towards the end. Now going on to the acting. Allu Arjun, he will play any character brilliantly. So in terms of acting, I feel it must have been a challenge for him. The mannerisms, the walk, that extra tilt that he has on the shoulder, it doesn't seem like he's putting extra effort. And only he can pull off those one-liners and the way he delivers the dialogue. Although the Hindi dub version is very good, but the Telugu one is something else because that's his original voice. The second part of the film, she's gonna have a bigger story arc, how she's gonna advise Pushpa on how to run the business. Fahad Fazil, brilliant actor. I wish he had more screen time and he was introduced way before. I mean, he has very few dialogues, you know. In terms of the importance of his character, he speaks so much with the eyes and music. The brilliance of sound design was in the background music. I want to especially point out when Fahad Fazil is introduced, they played this Mongolian throat singing tune right in the background. That piece of music, you sense already that he has the potential to be dangerous, but he doesn't show it. He shows it at just the right moments. But a lot of times the background music I felt was very predictable and repetitive. Automatically when I say heroic music, you know what kind of music they must have played. The cinematography bit, about how much effort they put into cinematography. Samantha has a slightly wider face than it's shown, but in the camera they purposely use the lens where her character's face looks a little narrower, so her eyes automatically look even bigger. That is purposely done in the song to give off that puppy look, puppy dog eyes. That is a sign of attractiveness. Cinematographers and directors could put that much effort into few shots of one song. Then you can only imagine the cinematography of the whole film. It was brilliant. The wide shots that they took of the jungle, and when the truck is going within that road, it's a visually beautiful film. Production design, I don't even know if they made a set in a film studio or they filmed it in a real jungle. You cannot tell if it's, CGI or if it's really done physically filmed. That is the brilliance of the production design. The costume, especially Pushpa, slightly dirty looking shirts that almost feel like they have certain sandalwood all over his clothes, purposely because he works in the jungles. But when he rises up, now he doesn't have to work in the jungles. So when he rises up, he starts wearing lighter colors, white. He knows he's not going to get that slight dirty color on his clothes. Excessive rings, excessive watches, purposely designed the costume towards that matches his character arc from the beginning. That's it from today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you in the next video next week. See you. Take care. Bye-bye.